Hello and welcome to Economic Forum. My name is Tawanda Gudlanga. In 2018, the government and the European Union signed a 40 million euro agreement to develop the beef, goat, piggery, poultry and dairy value chains. In this program, we have invited Dr. EDSON CHIFAMBA, the project coordinator of the Transforming the Zimbabwe Dairy Value Chain for the Future Trans-DVC, to paint us a picture of the dairy industry and what can be done moving beyond. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Tawanda.
The dairy industry has been recognized as one of the key value chains within the framework of government and European Union. Tell us more about this program, Trans-DVC.
Trans-DVC is a 7 million euro project funded by the European Union under the Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program. So it's there to assist all dairy value chain actors along the value chain. So the first thing that we did was to carry out a comprehensive milk mapping and baseline survey to understand the bottlenecks and the challenges in the dairy sector. We are amazed to see that the biggest challenge in the sector is the cost of feed. Our farmers are paying as much as 76% of the total variable cost to produce milk. We also noticed that our farmer numbers are low. When we started the project, we were only 530 farmers. Our mandate is to increase that number to 4,530 by 2022. Our milk production is very low. As of last year, we did 80 million liters against a consumption budget of 120 million liters. We need to increase the milk production from the current 80 million liters to 120 million liters by 2022. We also know that farmers suffer a lot from a lack of productive assets. They don't have what to use they don't have assets used in the dairy sector. Infrastructure is also dilapidated. Our MCCs are operating at below capacity. Out of the 35 milk collection centers that we have in the country, only 17 are operational. And all our large-scale processors are operating below capacity. So our mandate is then to try and address all those challenges that affect the dairy value chain.
The challenges seem to be a mouthful, but let's understand it from the farmers themselves. The numbers that are there, the 500, are they large scale? What sort of farmers are they?
In terms of large scale, there are about 192. The rest are medium to small scale farmers. But you'd find that 95% of our milk is coming from the large scale guys. Only the small percent, in fact, I would say 3% comes from the small scale guys. So the mandate of this project is to try and build the capacity of the small to medium scale farmers so that they also contribute to the dairy value chain.
You did allude to the fact that infrastructure is dilapidated. To what extent has this affected dairy production? Is it a question of not having the expertise, or this is a totally novel area, particularly looking at post-2000, where we had a new breed of farmers coming onto the farms?
In terms of milk collection centers for our small-scale farmers, they don't have cooling facilities that are working. They also don't have energy to actually power them. Some of the buildings are also dilapidated. So our mandate is to try and build those structures back and also mobilize more farmers so that these MCCs are operating profitably. So
let's talk about the model. You say 7 million euro has been channeled towards the dairy industry. How is it supposed to work out like?
So apart from all the exhaustive training that we're going to do for our small-scale farmers, one thing that we need to do is also develop a dairy database. We have identified a safe space at the ministry where you're going to build a database, an electronic database, so that by touch of a button you're able to know how much milk, how many farmers, how much infrastructure is in each district. And then we have also going to say, we have seen that the biggest challenge is that farmers do not have money. So we have come up with a package, which we call a matching grant facility, where we give farmers productive assets on a matching arrangement. So we've divided our matching grant into 5 windows. The first window is for large-scale farmers and large-scale milk processors. These, we want them to act as integrators. So what they do is we give them a maximum of $80,000 on a 50-50 match. So we co-identify an asset that's relevant for the integrator and also to benefit a minimum of 10 small-scale farmers around him. It might be you want to buy a cooling tank to then pull milk from farmers around you. You might want to buy a silage cutter. You might buy a tractor. That will help the farmers around you. We have a total of 20 beneficiaries to benefit from these windows as integrators. We've already identified and given out to 5. Last week we identified another 4. By the end of this year, we should give out a total of 20 beneficiaries in this window 1 for $80,000 US. Then window 2 is for milk collection centers and small-scale processors. We are saying anyone processing less than 5,000 liters a day is considered small-scale. So we are saying these guys, they can come in, we are giving them 10,000 euro to buy any asset that they require for dairy. So it might be a small vehicle to transport milk. It might be a water system. It might be anything to do with power. So for this window, strictly we give that. And this is on a 70-30 match. It means whatever asset that they identify, the project will pay a grant of 70%. They only contribute 30%. Let me also add that we don't give money direct to the farmers. We co-finance. So we identify the asset, they pay their part, we pay our part, and this asset is delivered. But we are saying this asset remain the project asset until the end of the project in 2022, where we then do an asset handover. So we don't expect this asset to be sold during the life of this project. The third window is for medium-scale farmers. Medium-scale farmers, we are saying any farmer who is doing between 200 liters to 500 liters a day processing commercially, not milking commercially, should get an asset also for 10,000 euro. They can buy any asset that has to do with dairy. So that's for medium-scale farmers. Then the last window, which is called the bulk of the money, is this window is for small-scale farmers and feed entrepreneurs. So we are giving a total of 1 million euro to these guys, each getting 2,000 euro per beneficiary. So in this window, we are saying a small-scale farmer, buy whatever you require. It might be a milk can, it might be a bowl, it might be a solar cooling tank, it might be a milking machine. We also do a 70-30 match here. We are also saying you might not be a dairy farmer, but you want to participate in the dairy value chain. So you might just decide to grow feed and sell to the dairy farm. We also consider you as a feed entrepreneur who then grows feed either for fodder or for seed to our farmers.
Join us after the break as we continue to understand the dairy value chain. Join us then. Welcome back. Dairy farmers are in the offing of a 7 million euro facility in order to grow the dairy value chain. And we have Dr. EDSON CHIFAMBA, a project coordinator with the Transforming the Zimbabwe Dairy Value Chain for the Future Trans DVC. Before you went to the break, you were explaining the windows, but we'll come to that. I want to understand what exactly farmers need to know, because it seems there was a gap in terms of the knowledge from some of the farmers, and you also then did an indicator analysis to that effect.
The first thing that we did was to do a dairy indicator analysis. So we called a lot of our stakeholders, including our farmers, our processors, our transporters, and we tried to understand what they need to know about the dairy sector. So after carrying those workshops, we then sent out a team that was in the field for 3 months to then analyze the indicators. Why are we doing this is because we want to start capturing these indicators and feed them into an electronic national database. So we've identified that people want to know which type of breeds that we have. So we categorize them in terms of how many Jersey animals we have, how many Holstein animals we have, how many crosses, how many local Mashona animals that we have, their productions per liter, their production per liter per day. We also want to know how many milk collection centers are there, how many are functional. So that way we have a clear picture of what's happening and where in our sector.
Now let's talk about the whole analysis with regards the breeds, because it's all about production, and breeds, I understand, play a critical role. What have been some of your findings from the 39,000 that you then identified?
Okay, most of the exotic breeds are with the medium to large scale farmers, and understandably so, because they need more intensive care. If you give a small-scale farmer a Holstein or a Frisian or a pure breed Jersey, they might struggle with it because they need clean water, they need a lot of medication, they need a lot of attention. So our thrust as a project is we are saying we need our farmers to move away from the local Mashona breeds and graduate into crosses, dairy crosses. So this is a cross between maybe a Jersey and a Frisian, a cross between a beef and dairy. These animals, they can still give you up to 20 liters of milk per cow per day, but they are low maintenance. So these are the breeds that we're encouraging our farmers to get.
Let's talk about the funding mechanism. You did speak of a match arrangement. With some windows, it's a 50-50 match. In others, it's a 70-30 match. Can you sort of explain how you came up with that modeling and what determines which farmer to actually fit into a particular window?
Okay, so our 50-50 match, which means for every, it's a dollar per dollar match. If we give you $50, you give us, you also match with $50. So we deliberately selected the large-scale farmers and the large-scale processors we believe are more financially stable to be able to match on a 50-50 basis. So any farmer producing more than 500 liters a day, so we believe that's a large enough farmer who can be able to do a match. Then we went to the other windows for medium scale, for small scale. We realized that they are a bit financially incapacitated, so we give a 70-30 match. So we give them 70% grant. We don't give us back that money, and then you only contribute 30%. So anything below large scale qualifies for more funding, for more grants from the project.
Now, the issue of identification of farmers, some would then argue that then almost everyone should qualify because really we have a deficit of dairy farming and production thereof. Are there any mechanisms that identify a particular farmer who will be eligible for funding?
Apart from giving farmers that are already in the dairy sector, because of course our bias is towards small scale, like anyone producing less than 200 liters of milk is our target beneficiary because we believe they need her assistance. So we are saying any farmer who is milking below that amount should apply for all our windows, for the windows that they qualified, like the window 3, and also for the EFAs, and also talk about the semen facility later on. But we're also saying if we're a greenfield, we are not a dairy farmer at all. You want to start dairy. We also encourage you to start dairy. You could be a beef farmer right now. We have a semen facility where we give you dairy semen for you to inseminate your animals and already start the dairy genetics. Or if you don't have any animal at the moment, you can come in as a feed entrepreneur where we just grow fodder. We can assist you to grow fodder to sell to our farmers, or we can actually apply for heifers because we have a facility, which I'll talk about later, where we can give you a heifer on a one-to-one match, and then you can start your enterprise. We are saying we need at least 4,500 farmers, dairy farmers in this country, for us to reach the numbers that we anticipate, which is a minimum production of 120 million liters per year.
The ultimate question really is also to do with the size of farming. You are measuring the size of a farmer by virtue of the production of the milk. But the other question has to do with the land size as well. Are you considering land size as part of the selection and criteria?
What we require for us to give assistance, especially for our heifer facility, is do you have land? And also, do you have water? Water is very critical. A dairy animal can drink up to 200 liters of water per day. So you need a lot of clean water, and then you also need adequate land to grow fodder. If you want to buy concentrates or concentrate from the feed manufacturers, it's very costly, and your dairy enterprise won't be viable. So you need enough land to grow your own feed and then feed your animals. That then you reduce your dairy costs.
So, Dr. CHIFAMBA, you did speak of a contract that will be signed by both parties, the farmer and Trans-DVC. Let's look at it in the context where one fails to meet the obligations of that contract on their part.
Like I said, we've got a binding contract that the farmer has to adhere to. And I think some of the things that might require breaching, that might entail breaching of the contract is maybe you don't match, because we say you need to match on a 50-50 or a 70-30.
Yes.
So we need someone to match as agreed, and also we don't believe that asset should be sold. In the event of say that there's a breach, we might have to withdraw that contract from that particular individual.
Does it mean also taking away of the assets, or when you say that you are cancelling the contract?
Yeah, we might have to reconsider, because the asset is still our asset until the asset handover at the end of the project. So if there's a breach, like in our integrators, if our integrator has said they're going to assist particular number of small-scale farmers and they don't, then there's a possibility that we can actually withdraw the asset.
Join us in the third and final segment as we look at some of the recommendations coming from the Trans DVC. Join us then. Welcome back to the third and final segment, where we are focusing on the dairy value chain, and we have with us Dr. EDSON CHIFAMBA. Now, you spoke about heifers. That sounds really interesting. What is this program all about?
Like I mentioned, that our cow numbers are limited. We have 39,000, the whole country, and we believe that for us to start meeting our numbers, we need probably 50,000 dairy animals in the country. So we have a program where we're importing in-cow dairy heifers, which we distribute to our farmers. For this part of the program, we need to import at least 500 in-cow heifers, so that we distribute on a one-to-one to our farmers. What do I mean by one-to-one? We are saying if you buy a heifer, wherever you buy it, but it should be a dairy heifer, preferably a cross, because that's suitable for small-scale farmers. We give you one for free. So, and our heifers are coming. The last lot we have brought in was costing around 1,500 USD, which is a very good dairy heifers. They were Jersey crosses and also Frisian crosses. They can give you up to 20-25 liters of milk per day. So for every heifer you buy for yourself, we then give you one. But what I've noticed, we have already imported 200 heifers, which we have distributed to our small-scale farmers. And we've noticed that some farmers, small-scale farmers, for example, were failing to match. So we've approached our large-scale processors to come up with a match for our small-scale farmers. But the heifer that you get from a processor, you pay it back over a period of some up to 36 months through milk sales. So we thank our processors very much, because that has lightened the work for our small-scale farmers, because they got a ready match, they got a free heifer from us and a ready match from the processors. And the processors are all interested in this, because they will then increase their milk volumes. So we are deliberately importing only crosses, because we believe they are low maintenance for small-scale farmers. And for the record, we have imported 200, and with 0 mortalities and 0 abortion. That's actually a record.
There is a roadmap that you are following in order for you to reach the milestone come 2022. What are some of the key stepping stones? In
terms of the roadmap, we are actually focusing on having a dairy strategic plan for the nation. We are working with dairy value chain players. We want to come up with a strategic plan, which is a roadmap that drives the dairy sector. We need to have a draft by end of this year, which will be a map to show that the Zimbabwe dairy sector will be driven this way. We are also reviewing the Dairy Act. You know that the dairy sector is guided by the Dairy Act, and it was last reviewed many, many years ago. We need now to sit down and review it so that it becomes more usable and more current for our stakeholders. We're also looking at resuscitating a dairy multi-stakeholder platform. This is a platform of all dairy value chain players who sit together at least on a quarterly basis to decide on what to do and how to move on with the dairy sector. So they will also be the custodians of this dairy strategic plan.
I know that our number is already blazing with farmers that really want to know probably how they can meet the basic requirements when it comes to the various programs within the dairy value chain.
Okay, let me start with the heifers. We need water. Like I mentioned, a heifer can consume as much as 200 liters of water per day for the heifer. We also need land for you to be able to grow fodder for your animals, and you also need to be able to match. If you can't match on your own, you then tell us, we link you either to a financial institution or to link you to a processor who assists you with the match. Same with the productive assets. People battling, we've seen farmers battling to raise the 30%. But with financial institutions that are ready, we also got our same processors. They are willing to assist with the match for the productive assets.
The big question, though, is what is the cost of the 30%? Have you negotiated for at least some long, patient money so that the farmer can gradually grow as well as be able to pay back that particular obligation?
What we've done with most of our process is that the match, especially for the EFA, you pay it over months, I think on average 3 years. So a farmer is given time to breathe, there's the payback, they are matched for the EFAs. Also for the productive assets, we are negotiating with various financial institutions to give very low cost funds for our small scale farmers. We're also looking at building relationship with a lot of equipment suppliers so that we get discounts, because the equipment suppliers that are giving us huge discounts. So we are negotiating the best deal for our farmers to get low cost but durable equipment and also low-cost financing from financial institutions.
One of the greatest fears that small-scale farmers have is that of accessibility, and eventually they then get elbowed out by those that can easily access WeEffect or any of the key players. Are you quite open and widespread in your reach to the extent that farmers can actually then make applications quite easily?
Our applications don't have to come to a head office in Harare. You can send them to our regional offices, to our district offices, where we have extension staff that pick up these applications and also assess your farm and also assist you in making your application successful.
Dr. EDSON CHIFAMBA, I know you will be back in the studio because you really have an exciting program and we still need more time for you to unpack that for us. Our guest this week was Dr. EDSON CHIFAMBA, who is the project coordinator of the Transforming the Zimbabwe Dairy Value Chain for the Future Trans DVC, as we were unpacking the dairy value chain as part of the key developmental aspect between government and the European Union, who have availed a 40 million kitty to develop beef, goat, piggery, poultry and dairy. We've come to the end of the program. My name is Tawanda Gudlanga. Join us again next time. Until then, it's pleasant viewing.